Welcome to the Port Charles Update with your hosts, Mish and Mel.
Hello.
Hello, it's Friday.
Yes, it is. I mean, I just feel like I feel like we confirm this every time we call each
I
other,
know, but I'm
but
so
we
excited.
record on the same day every day. So yeah, it's Friday.
And usually, it's Friday. I'm so excited. I'm, out of work. I get to start the weekend, and I can't help it. I'll try to change my line next week.
Well, I'll try something new because I always say hello. Anyways, let's get started. Are you ready to get into it?
Yeah.
Okay, so I feel like we're picking up a little bit from last week in the sense that Carly is, I guess, taking Alexis's advice here. Again, I don't really feel that Carly or Sonny has, like, their arguments make much sense when it comes to Julian anymore. But Carly tries to, I mean, she basically rats out Alexis first chance she gets when she talks to Lucas. And she's like, Alexis, tell me what happened. And I mean, one thing is just everybody needs to stop saying Wiley's name out loud. I just think we should
Oh my
stop
God. It makes me
saying,
so nervous every
makes
single time. I'm freaking stressed out.
so nervous, so nervous. So Carly's getting into it with Julian, and I just feel like it's such a losing argument. Like, I mean, at first I was like trying to follow along. Like, what's this logic? Is the logic that you believe he's an incompetent criminal? I mean, has enough time passed? Like, if your husband is a crime boss, wouldn't you know who's active in crime and to know that he's just not? Like, I mean, he's currently not in the business.
Well, it's like part of me wanted to blame it on pregnancy hormones. Second, I was like, she just wants to favor her criminal husband more. Like, my criminal husband is better than your criminal tactics. And
It's
we
really coming
discussed
off that
before,
way.
it really is. And like, it was weird seeing her in Charlie's. And Julian made a point. It's like, it's all hands on deck. Why are we wasting time going over what's already done? The whole point is, let's just put it all aside for like a minute and we have a, how do you say, like a common goal.
Yeah, I honestly am completely with Julian on this one. I
Me
kind of
too.
like don't really understand too much. Like I said, the more Carly and Sonny sort of talk and express their point, it doesn't really hold up. So one thing I'm happy that Julian did is that he made a point of saying, like, I worked with Sam. Like,
That was
I'm
important.
doing, yeah, not only did I work with Sam, I'm kind of working on their level. Like, I haven't really done anything like really extreme.
I love that you say that because it kind of reinforces the idea you had last week about them starting a business together, Julian and Sam.
Yeah. I honestly, that would be so freaking amazing if that were to happen. Okay, so they're having that whole conversation, and like you said, super weird to see Carly at Charlie's. It was just a weird trio, like her,
Yes.
Julian, and Lucas, and I'm not used to that like picture. And I get it, you know, she wants her brother to come to her, and he hasn't come to her, and they were in the dark, and I could see that being Carly's main motivation at this point. But I also keep thinking she went on a date with Julian like ages ago.
Wait, who went on a date with Julian ages ago?
Carly,
Oh, oh God.
when she didn't know who he was, I believe. I mean, I think
Yes,
they
I
were
remember
using each
this.
other. Yeah, there was something like that. I
Oh
think she
my
was like using him,
gosh.
whatever. But they had a date, and anyway, I had that weird thought. But like my favorite part of that whole interaction was Kristina when she kind of like snuck up on them and was kind of like, you know, she at first she was all like cute, you know, like here's this like cocktail and a mocktail and these are my ideas, and we're seeing that she's reintegrating and she's really trying to develop herself, you know, like as a bartender at Charlie's and trying to contribute. And then she kind of catches them off guard by going like, what are you guys doing with your heads together? And I just died because I think Lucas's reaction was the best. Like, I practically like choked or spit out his drink. It was just amazing.
It was, and there's something about, and I know they do this purposefully, or with intention with her story. So she's very like well put together, like the way she's dressed, her makeup, her hair, as opposed to when she was kind of frazzled, disheveled, going through all of her stuff with Dawn of Day. So I think it's all very representative. So she walks in there with confidence and integrates into the conversation. She knows something's going down with those heads
Yeah,
together.
she's not stupid, and I think, you know, like prior to her showing up there, she was at Sunny's, and they're super cute, and I love him talking to her, being like, "And we're both good looking," like just making jokes, And the sweet thing was when she started talking, like realizing that she had a village, that she had people, she was able to kind of list to Sonny all the people that were there to help her kind of get out of everything. And so I feel like she's really taking it to heart, and she's really trying to connect with her village and extended
Oh,
family.
yes.
And also I think she just wants to be included. She's like, okay guys, so like you pulled me out, you know, you're my village. I really want to be connected to you guys, so can you guys like include me? she like she wasn't really included before, and I just feel like she wants to be included. I think she wants them to like again, she's fighting and she's trying to show that she's getting stronger, and I think being left out and being in the dark is sort of a reflection of weakness. Like if people constantly feel the need to protect you, they feel like you can't handle things. So I think she wants to show them I can handle things, so please tell me things and involve me. Like stop hiding things from me, I'm not going to break.
I know we want to talk about the baby stuff a little bit more and get a little deeper into it, but there was that scene with Kristina and Sonny and her saying pretty much that, like, Dad, I love you, but I don't want you to help me and protect me. And then he was like listing off things like, you don't want a car? You don't want me to buy you a
That
house?
was,
You know,
oh
I
my
was
gosh.
dying. I'm like, you are so freaking cute. Like, I can't handle it.
Like their relationship, their dynamic is everything. Meanwhile, like Alexis is in therapy going like, why did she tell a
Why?
secret about me? So anyways, so I just find that whole like that whole contrast is hilarious. So the thing is, okay, so she's talking to Sonny, she realizes she has a village, and I really loved seeing everybody in action because like we said, it's a weird crowd. Julian, Lucas, and Carly. By the way, right before we talk about Shiloh, so can you explain this connection to me? So she mentions to Lucas, I haven't seen my nephew. How is it her nephew?
Wait, who said that? Kristina?
Kristina. She said like I gotten to see him. I'm pretty sure she said the word nephew. She talked about wanting to babysit. And I mean technically they were family temporarily because her mom was married to Julian. But
Her mom was married to Julian. Yes. Yes. Okay, that could be the connection
so
because I'm like going through the mental checklist of weird family connections.
but I
And
mean
that's the
there's
only one that
also
aligns.
but there's also the fact that like it's Carly's brother and it's
Right.
also Michael's, that I don't know, they're all really
But
connected, but whether there's a real connection or not, I like the fact that she thinks of Wiley as her nephew. Like I like the fact that she's really taking these extended connections and people in her life like really seriously. I just thought it was really sweet, but I also was kind of like, what is the legitimate like connection to this baby? Like, that I'm guessing she sees Lucas possibly as like a brother in family. I think so.
yes, I think it's a little bit from column A and a little bit from column B.
Okay, sounds good. So freaking Shiloh walks in. Oh my so
That's how I feel too.
he has a nerve. Like the guy. Oh my god, he has a nerve to come at Charlie's that I loved. Because I was worried that Kristina would have to like talk to him longer. Like I was worried that it's one of those things where everyone turns their back for a minute, like and a lot of bad things go down. But like I love that Julian stepped up, and I feel like doesn't that show you something? Like I don't know, I just felt like to Carly for instance, like even to Sonny, like Julian will protect Kristina. Like aside from the Alexis connection, the point is
Mm-hmm.
he cares about her. They've developed their own relationship that's a complete aside from Alexis. And so the way Julian stepped up to protect her, I love that Carly like physically removed her from the situation, protected her. And if you watch the scenes, you see kind of Lucas. I mean, I'm just bringing him up because he's super hot and attractive,
Yeah,
and
I
more
know.
so when he's angry. And he like kind of puts his arm and grabs Kristina too. Like I love seeing them protect her in that way. And I loved that Julian stepped up also.
Okay, there was a lot of stepping up this week that made me feel exactly as the voice you used. So, in particular, yes, Julian. And,
I'm like getting like nervous. like, like, I don't know if I can turn red, but I feel like my face
I
is
think you
getting really
can.
hot.
I think you can. Oh, lady.
No.
So, and I think that proves to Carly too. Like you said, Julian handled that very well because he could have threatened his life. He could have physically thrown him out. Instead, he just refused to serve him and asked him to leave in a very stern voice with a cute face.
Yeah.
So like that in itself, and I'm sorry, what was Shiloh's rebuttal? I wanted to smack him. He was like, what is the I'm gonna sue you. It's like, no, every business has the right to refuse
Yeah,
somebody
yeah, yeah.
from
Because he was
coming
like,
in.
you have no legal grounds for kicking me out. I'm like, every place can kick you out if they want to. They like most places say we reserve the right to refuse service because
Right?
you're a douche and like a cult leader. Like this is, anyways. But the thing is, it didn't work because he did stay and order a coffee from another waitress, which is where he bumped into Sam. So the thing is, everyone is slowly discovering that he's free.
I know, and it is. You see everybody's face just. I mean, we know the how do you say, like everybody who gets
On
arrested never really stays arrested or behind bars.
right.
So
Yep.
part of me is like, okay, why are you surprised? And the other part is like, yes, it's crushing because he's a really disgusting person.
Yeah, absolutely. So Sam was sort of like the next
Oh,
person
that scene was
to,
unreal.
I mean, at least she was prepared. Like she got the heads up. All I can really say is like she held her own and he continued to be very disgusting. Like
He
when he
was.
like when he started going, like he was talking as if he had a real relationship with her. Cuz like I mean, you would
Mm.
only say something like, "Oh, was she like this with you?" You only say that kind of crap when you know you've been with her and you're pissed off and she might have been with someone else, but she was never like with you. And I just think it's like a dumb question to ask, like, does she lie so good to you? No, like you're gonna hear an answer you don't want to hear. She doesn't lie to him. You were a target. You were a con. You are no better than your father. She conned you.
Oh my god. It was just, and it's still like not sinking in for him. But what really threw me and lets me see
No.
that he's like he's losing it. Like he's ever slowly, like we saw with his relationship with Sam. Yes, he's enamored with her, but everything starts to unravel with the choices that he's making and the way that he's going about it. So when he went out to grab her arm and that's when Jason walked in, like he's in a public place. He's in Charlie, so Julian is there. You know, like
In the
anybody can
back.
walk and
So, I mean, I'm glad that Jason sort of showed up when he did. I don't know what
yes.
you think about this. Like, because like we feel very pro Julian right now, and I believe he has changed. Part of me did kind of want him to step up for Sam as well.
Same. I wish he wasn't in the back doing whatever he does when he's in the back because that would have contributed to mending their relationship. I
I
highly
think
believe that.
so. And I mean, I kind of get it. Like, the scene was meant to kind of like shove the con into Shiloh's face by having Jason be the one there.
But his spiral into delusion, and we'll approach the other part of the story after, but it really feeds into, I can't remember if it was you or a one of our comments from the people who listen, that he's gearing up for kidnapping because he's just lost it so much.
he, he like honestly, if things don't go his way and he has nothing to lose, yeah, and he knows and he thinks that it's Wiley, yeah, like I wouldn't be surprised for if something like that were to happen. But like I'm just I just really want to talk about this for a second.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand how the charges were dropped. And so like I just want to like share some of our comments, and we actually have some comments that are really informative that kind of help us understand what happened here. So I'm going to start with Patty B068. So really they wouldn't just drop charges until they investigate Harmony. Harmony wasn't even in Port Charles when Sam was drugged. That's sort of what I was thinking.
Right?
Shiloh mixed it himself. So that fact like really stuck out for me because I'm like, I'm sure there's a way to prove that Harmony wasn't even in Port Charles when this occurred.
Exactly. One, love our listeners. Great comment. But yeah, I agree. Like, how easy is it to just figure out her whereabouts?
They claim that they, well, no, actually it was today, it was explained today when Margaux said there was no way to disprove, and I'm like, what she's saying, I'm like, I
Really?
guess you didn't have to prove what she was she was saying. But then some other people were like, Sweet Mall 30 said, seriously, Harmony would have been charged as co-conspirator and accessory and so many other charges. That's what I thought. I thought she was just sort of
Same.
getting herself in trouble. I was just like, in my mind I'm thinking, okay, so let's say Shiloh didn't drug the tea. Is the concept, and I posted this, is the idea that if he believes that she had chamomile tea, that implied consent and he gets to force himself on her because in his mind he's like, you had chamomile tea. Like, that's the part that I don't understand, because they still have the recording. And I felt like, wasn't he like, he had way other charges. Like, they wouldn't stop sort of accentuating that last week by saying, yeah, you're arrested for these things, but you have so many additional charges. So we're going to have to wait and see about him getting justice. But Sexy Key 516 says, I can't wait until Shiloh gets his and Drew recovers his memory, because I think that might be the thing that I'm going to say temporarily neutralizes Shiloh. Because I don't know if as time goes on, if this is going to be somebody that they want to keep, like just a villain. We always need a villain. And
Right.
so I feel like if anything is going to neutralize them for an extended period of time, whatever that means, it might be the stuff related to Drew. But as for this information, okay, so listen to this. So SC Hona went to the JH convention last weekend, and she asked if they had experts to consult for accuracy, so lawyers, doctors, psychologists, and they said no, they have to do the research all on their own. So
Wow.
legal details would never be solid unless the writers knew a lawyer. And then added to this, Liz Wood 526875006 said they don't get paid that much for long hours they put in, let alone have a specialist to consult with. Dan and Alexis are the best they can get. That's really funny. Okay, so their pretend lawyers are the best that they can get. But that's really interesting information. So like these writers are literally doing all the research. That's a lot of research. So I mean, I guess we can't be surprised when things aren't accurate, but at the same time, it is a soap opera, so it can be accurate. Otherwise, like the
Right?
majority of them would be in jail, and like we'd be
And
having a
stay.
whole other show. They'd stay.
Exactly.
But yeah, but I have to admit, like, I'm like, it doesn't, like, whatever, it doesn't make sense. The whole Harmony says she drugged people, but I like, you have a recording of somebody saying no, because that's the thing. Like, one of the cops said, oh well, without the drugging it becomes like an he said she said sort of thing. And I'm like, yeah, but it's on recording of somebody saying no and him sort of being like, I don't care. So that's where I'm like,
Well,
so
yeah,
I don't
it's
know.
all very sketchy, and it's very irritating that all of a sudden. But we knew that the story had to kind of flow this way, that they were going to probably keep him for the summer
For
because
sure.
Wiley's story has to come out that he is not their child. There has to be a DNA test, so they had to kind of spin a web until it all comes to a conclusion.
For sure. And another important conversation in terms of like people finding out that he got out of jail. So how did you feel about Chase showing up to kind of warn Sonny and Jason
I
not to kill him?
Oh yeah, I love that lately people have been using the word disappearing him very often. Carly used it, Chase used it. I think it's quite funny that it's integrated into everybody's like everyday talk.
Yeah.
But yeah, I kind of like that Shiloh. Not Shiloh, sorry, Chase. Um, because we said he's so on the straight and narrow. Yet, like he's friends with Michael. He knows who Michael's associated with. He goes to warn Sonny in so many words, but really that's what he's doing. So I think it's really, really interesting that he's
I
looking out for the somewhat bad good guys.
but I really felt in that interaction, because we're in a like minus Dante kind of a world. I felt like Chase was playing the role of Dante in that conversation.
Yes. Oh my gosh. No wonder it felt so like warm, and it was very familiar.
It was familiar. And I mean, what was familiar was how Jason got super angry and wanted to kill Shiloh. And that conversation with Sonny, I was like, whoa, because we're used to seeing him so level headed. So having to see like that intense emotion coming out of him, I was like, we haven't seen that in a while.
It's true, and it was kind of good
It
because
was
he's
it
always
was really
like
nice.
he's
Okay. All right. I
add
see what
that
I
to
did
the
there.
list.
I forget. Like people are gonna hear this. So.
That it's really not just me and you, because we could escalate this, but I will not be that person that I
Oh,
usually
don't,
am, and
don't,
I
don't,
will.
don't.
Yeah, sorry. What I was actually gonna say was that we do see a different side to Jason, like a warm and fuzzy part,
Yeah.
very emotional part. So I almost, not that I forgot that he was just like in the background a little bit. That yes, he is this very forceful, angry person with lots of emotions and solves things a very specific way.
Yeah.
And when he
Like he's
got
a
angry, I was
killer.
just like, yeah.
I kind of like, to be honest, like it's easy to forget you, because we haven't like seen him murder anybody in a while. So in that moment, I kind of remembered. I'm like, oh yeah, he's a killer. All right, like it was just a really weird, like you're hit with that fact because it's really easy to ignore and see him as a hero. that
Well,
kills
like we look
people.
at Sonny, like, well, yeah, because he's just like he's killing the right bad guys, not just going around randomly killing people.
I know, yeah. I know, it's justified. But what I thought was super sweet was, okay, this is sweet only if you're a fan, and I had like posted something about this week, but the idea that Sonny putting off the murder was like so sweet because he did it because like him putting it off, he did it for Kristina. And
But
that's
it's so
huge for him
true.
to show
Oh.
self-restraint for his kids, because to him it was always something so separate from his family. And there have been times where like some people have pleaded for him not to do things, or family members have pleaded with him not to do things, and he's never not like he's not really conformed, you know what I mean? Like his business was his business, and he kind of just did what he did, and I didn't feel like he was very malleable when it came to that. So the fact that he put a hold on it for Kristina, I thought was, I'm like, wow, that's gross.
Nobody really was, and it just and I think that'll prove to Kristina too that what she says has value, because she basically said to her dad, like, nope, no blood on my head, thank you very much, I appreciate your help, but I rather him live.
Oh, that's a really cool point, because I'm pretty sure Kristina, sees that Michael is that important person for Sonny. And you're right. If she sees that Shiloh lives, she'll see that she is just as important and just as influential over her dad. And that might make her feel a little bit more important and part of the family and like an equal, in the way that I know
Exactly.
she sees that Michael is with Sonny. So some other people in terms of those scenes with Sonny and Kristina. So Lamont_A said, "Yep, showing that restraint is the ultimate show of love," which is very, very true. And I had to include this one just because of like everything about that new set, I will say. But Loon Tunes wrote, "Obsessed with that kitchen." So it's like we're posting about Sonny and Kristina, and then she's just like, "That kitchen," and it's like that is literally how I feel when I'm watching those scenes. I'm like, that's quite a kitchen. So yeah.
I love that we're still talking about the kitchen because it's so true. It is quite lovely.
It is really amazing. So we talked earlier about like how Carly went to um like talked about how like Julian being involved was a bad idea. So when Julian was alone with Brad, Sonny shows up.
Oh God.
So again, I just briefly, his argument again, I didn't get it, because he was like, well, if it was my son and my grandson, which it is, which freaked out Brad, I would sort of do anything. So so Sonny being more reasonable, understanding why Julian would be so devoted to this issue. He didn't seem to be, and Julian wanted to work with him. So just a little disappointed there.
Same. Like I said, like when was it? When Ava went to go see Carly and Sunny last week, that we hoped that there would be a gentler approach and an
Yeah.
understanding. Like the Jeromes are really kind of trying here.
They are really
And
trying, and basically everybody is showing them that it really doesn't matter what you do.
exactly, if you're pegged into that hole of being that person and that you play that role in that town, you constantly do. And the
I
funny thing
think
is because
the technical term, as you use a lot, is town pariah.
yes, I love it. And there's just something about it, it rolls off the tongue. I don't know. But I think that it's interesting because Kristina explained how she felt that way for a really long time, being put in this
Yeah.
very specific role. And now she's trying to change. And then there's Julie. Like, it's a funny dynamic, like one's accepted, one's not, one's doing really good,
Yeah.
blah, blah, blah. So, and just a little contrast and insight into
Yeah.
my brain.
Yeah.
You can edit that out.
Thanks for the insight into your brain. So I'm gonna hop out. Um, okay. So other, I don't know. Do you think that maybe Brad should just tell Julian about Nell, because like it's getting out of control. Like Nell's a
well,
problem.
well, especially that, she saw him and that she's like, I'm going to have early release and all this, like, she thinks she's normal and going to integrate into normal life and be involved in Wiley's life. Like, yes, now is the time, Brad. Now is the time to scream.
But I'm sorry. She sort of alluded to this before, and I'm just like, you made a deal with the devil. Like, what did you think was gonna happen? You know what I mean? Like, you were living on borrowed time the moment you made a deal with Nell, and so I don't know. I mean, how do you think Julian would react if he found out who his birth mother was?
I think he panicked a little bit because the fact is, if it's Nell, it's Michael, it's related to Sonny. There's all this, history between them. I think he's doing everything on the up and up. So it wouldn't change his approach. I just think there would be a little bit of panic. Like, we need to reassess and figure this out because this is far bigger than I had anticipated.
Oh my God, he'll probably be like, Brad, you're the freaking worst. Like, I can't
Right?
believe my son is married to you. Like, this is real bad. Like, this is real bad. But even just backing up a minute, okay, so we just started talking about Nell. What did you think about that scene when Ryan meets Nell? what what did you
Oh,
what
okay,
did you
so
think about that jolly interaction?
so part of me was super freaked out, and then another part of me was like, my favorite crazies are together. Yay!
Right, because don't you find like their love for the characters is very context specific, and in that moment it was kind of like, woo,
Yes.
like part of me was like, this is really cool, these villains getting together, because it's not like they have any other friends, but at the same time I was just sort of like, oh no, like
Oh
what is
yeah, I
going
was
to
like,
happen? I got a little
holy.
scared.
Yes, and then I totally forgot about the kidney thing, and then he just kind of got invigorated with that, and I was like, holy effing, holy moly, lots of explicits, stuff's gonna go down.
Oh yeah, so like big underscore KLW said, when I saw them immediately thought, OMG, what are these two cooking up? So I kind of like felt the same way. And other people's reaction to seeing Nell for the first time was eTank17 says, nice to see that Nell has time to get a mani while locked away. Pentonville can't be that bad. So she noticed her manicure. I have to say this. How are they interacting? Like, is it like
Well,
a
yes, a co-ed.
like a prison? Anyway, that kind of, because the thing is, yeah, because at the end of the episode, like Harmony gets brought to Nell's work, like to her like task
Our
area.
office.
Yeah, it was really so I mean, yeah, in a way I'm like, Pentonville can't be that bad, but it's just those two talking. It was interesting. They have Ava in common, they had Carly in common, but like I wonder now, like if Carly was sort of shoved at Ryan to give them that commonality. I know she was seeing like the real Kevin at one point as the therapist, but I mean it's just weird because Carly was brought into the whole Ryan Chamberlain storyline, and we thought she'd have a more significant role in it, but then she didn't, because she had some of the first interactions with him. Like, she discovered this character, so it's just kind of weird.
Huh.
Anyways, I just find it like a weird connection. Like, did you just do it so they would have something in common? Because like, I mean, honestly, like, whatever. Like, I don't know what I think about that, but either way, they have Carly and Ava in common. So I
Yes.
mean, yeah, for sure. I think that they can find a way to cook something up to work together. I guess that all depends on if she tells him exactly what happened, like with her baby or whatnot. But like, anyways, when I was seeing them together, aside from, I think it was like super hilarious that only in Port Charles will you be like, oh my God, me too, someone stole my kidney without my consent. Like, only there could that kind of bond happen. Like, and I had posted about this as well, but I was just sort of like Nell worked with Ava and then turned on her.
Yes.
And like Ryan is typically working alone, so part of me feels like if these two were to team up, like I just feel like only one person is going to come out of that alive,
Oh
because
yeah,
because
100%.
these two people are so narcissistic. Like, Nell is dangerous, and so is he, and I just don't think that they would think twice to off the other if it was convenient. You know what I mean? So it's really scary, but I just don't think that they're going to survive that collaboration.
I almost see like a comedic face-off, serious slash
Okay.
comedic face-off between the two, because he's going to discover, maybe she can soften it, but like she said, she feels that Ava turned on her and she doesn't like Ava. Ryan is super in love with Ava. Then,
Mm-hmm.
there's the whole thread of, if he finds out about the baby, is he going to be the one to divulge the secret, or is it going to be the DNA test? So I can just see this like very intense slash Ryan hilarious face off.
It would be interesting if like he actually plays a role in outing Nell, because there seems to be new avenues. Harmony is now coming into the picture, into the prison.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really hard to know how this whole secret will be completely outed. But in terms of that question, what would happen? And so some people have some opinions on, let's just say, these two facing off. Lovering Dog Mom, I'm rooting for Nell because I want the Ryan storyline over with once and for all. I don't want to tune in 10 to 15 years from now and have another Ryan storyline. To be honest, I think you may have another Ryan storyline because because this week, when Jordan was talking with Curtis and saying something about her kidney, and then Curtis was all, well, it's not like he's gonna get it back. And then I was like, oh my God, he's gonna come back for his kidney. So I mean, it's very possible because he has a reason to go after a lot of people. Like, I don't know who the group of people he has in his head. He obviously has some. And we found out who those people were this week. But like that, I kind of do think that his story can be left open. And then we also have from on Twitter, Aunt DeFazio said, if one of them is going down, my money is on Nell surviving. So it's funny. Two people kind of rooting for Nell over Ryan because I don't know, that girl is crazy. Like I just she's so crazy that I can kind of understand that leaning. I was sort of leaning towards her too. But I also have a thought bomb for you.
Ooh.
Are you ready?
Ready.
So this is from at the Pretty Pixie. She says Nell will become Ryan's protege. She is as twisted as he, and she will be the perfect way to ensure his legacy of vengeance when he does eventually die. Nell will be the Ryan of the next generation, his perfect creation, a living monument to his narcissism, his daughter of death.
I have serious goosebumps right now. It is not cool.
I really feel like
good.
GH should like use these words, like these exact words in a scene with these two. I think would be phenomenal. Isn't that insane?
Yes, like I can picture like a black and white, somewhat slow motion, a time jump, and the narration.
Again, I'm hypothesizing that like they might go against each other, but then this is an interesting opposing theory that they'll actually bond. So she's proposing that she'll be like sort of like the extension of Ryan, like this new generation's Ryan. But then someone else, Jeromeo5651 said, is Nell the new Heather Weber?
Oh, that's an interesting angle as well. All these really great thoughts.
Yeah. So I mean, regardless of what she is, I think if you're comparing, a new character like Nell to someone like historic like Heather Weber and Ryan Chamberlain, she's obviously doing a good job of really like embodying an intense amount of crazy. And she's obviously doing a really good job if we're making these kinds of comparisons.
Oh, I agree. It took the words right out of my mouth. I definitely, when I saw her, like I said, like I got excited first. I'm like, Mel's back. Like,
I
oh
was
man, shit's gonna
excited.
go down.
I am excited. I just kind of like, I'm like, can you lay off Carly? Like, is she like, I like her because I like her crazy because I think she's an excellent villain. And somebody was saying, I don't know who said it, but like, if you're playing a villain and nobody dislikes you, then you're not doing a very good job. But I'm just so scared of what she will do to the other characters.
You know what? Like, and also like another thought that popped into my head is that she doesn't know that Carly is pregnant. Like that really scares me. That when she finds out that she's pregnant.
Yep. I did not even think about that at all. At all. So, okay, what did you think about okay, the conversation between Jordan and Curtis basically was a run through. It was giving us how this whole conspiracy against Ryan took place. So I kind of get that was also the purpose of that conversation was to show us and explain to us what happened. I think it was so well done. Did you not die when you saw that Val was implicated?
Yes. I was like, what is happening? Because also when she was standing there with Finn when he was giving him the medication at the jail, I was like, what is happening?
Like, she's
She looked
gonna
all
rat them
sketched out. Yes. I was like, what is happening? She's like on the side of the law. She's gonna tell Chases everything's gonna go down in flames. But when the whole story unfolded and how I love Curtis's little face, like, oh yeah, really? That's a far-fetched story. I like that. I was just like goosebumps. I'm so sucked into my TV. Like so well done. I can't even choose the right words right now, but it was phenomenal.
No, it was amazing. It was amazing.
Yes.
Bonnie W108 said it was a crafty and successful plan that worked out. Leave it alone, Jordan. She's speaking exactly what I was thinking. You're going to live, be grateful. And Ryan is locked up at the moment. Who knows for how long, though? And so then also, Elise the first was like, I was getting nervous that she would trigger an investigation and get everyone in trouble. Weren't you, though? Like, with the way she was inquiring, I'm like, so even if your husband wasn't involved, why exactly would you go against these individuals who saved your life? Because I'm sorry, these are not your typical run-of-the-mill, oh yeah, my go-to villains. They're not. They're all good people. And to be honest, I don't think these people risked their freedom to punish Ryan. They risked it to save her. And the fact that she can't
Exactly.
see that or didn't seem to understand that, I was a little annoyed.
I was too, because I didn't know how far she would take it as well. Like when she was talking to Curtis, but when she wrapped it up at the end and said they must have
Yeah.
had a ringleader, I knew absolutely she wouldn't do anything moving forward. But it's like when she was talking about talking to Ryan and what's going on and the look on her face, it's like, dude, you have much bigger case files on your desk. You do not need to worry about what happened and how you got your kidney. Just work on
Well,
your recovery.
I mean, look, in the words of 18 underscore DeBella, this was the best plan ever. And Jordan figured it out. Like, I don't know, apply that brilliance to every other case, maybe, and and things would be really, really good. Like, I don't know. I really don't know what to say here. Like, she figured it all out. And I mean, look, she wasn't going to press charges, like you said. She wrapped it up at the end. But then I was thinking, even though I was worried she was going to take this further because she reached out to Chase, and because she had him look into things, and Chase is so not the type to look the other way, I realized later that this was just so that we could get the narration. So then I was like, okay, fine.
Exactly.
I'm not angry with you any longer. Any longer. So is it just me, or this week are you kind of like, why isn't Michael a lawyer?
I love Michael. Like, even he's not my taste at all, but I love him.
When he's angry
So,
though. I
oh,
know,
when he's
like
angry. Oh, I need therapy. Okay, so that I
join Alexis.
hey, you're on the same side as I am. So,
Hey,
anyways,
stop it.
let's
I'm throwing
continue.
stones right now. Don't throw them back.
That glass
Catch a
house on
release. Catch a
Saturn.
release.
Oh my god. Okay, yes, Michael should definitely have oh, he's amazing. He's a CEO. He obviously has the potential to be a fantastic lawyer. He also has the potential to be a mob guy. He has the potential
Yeah,
to be a hit man. Like he's just a jack of all trades.
he is. And for now, I kind of like Diane being Sonny's lawyer. But I mean, I guess I always thought that like Michael would have turned out to be like the lawyer, so the good guy. And I thought that Morgan would be like the mob guy, or maybe Christina.
True.
So I don't know. So yeah, so you're right. He's a good businessman, but he was really supporting Willow this week. He's also psychic. I mean, he knows so much. So like because he knew right away when that stranger walked up to Willow that she was being
Yes.
served. Like he knew before the woman even said it.
Okay, so that scene when he stood in, I'm a, I'm woman, hear me roar type person, but when Willow was standing there and Michael stood in front of her when Shiloh was just standing there, I was like, oh, dear Lord.
You know what I was thinking? Like Willow is getting stronger. She's clearly not able to be psychologically manipulated by Shiloh anymore. Of course, she gets shaken or upset, as would anybody who would like want to vomit after interacting with him. But I kind of wish that before any of this wraps up, that she can get to a place where she can physically assert her dominance with him, because he can't manipulate her, but more than once he feels the freaking liberty to grab her and physically intimidate her. And I mean, she did take that kickboxing class with Chase, and I feel like the moment she can kind of hold her own in front of him and maybe actually like physically take him, I think that would be an amazing moment for Willow to not only survive him psychologically, but to be able to kind of go toe to toe with him on that level when he tries to intimidate her physically, to push right back.
Do you remember that movie with J-Lo where she like trained forever and then she
Yeah,
kicked the crap out of that guy?
yeah.
That's what I'm picturing.
That would be amazing, because you know what happened this week? Shiloh, well, the actor went live on Instagram and started going like, "If I have to die, and I'm not saying I'm going to, I want one of the girls to do it." He even suggested, he goes, even Brad, like if somebody were to kill me, I would want it to be somebody unlikely, somebody cool. Like I'd want to go out in a really awesome way. But I'm kind of like, I would like it if Willow did it, and maybe that's the moment Chase will start bending the rules and be like, "I don't want you to go to jail for murder."
Oh. Oh.
Oh, that would be
Mind blown.
happy to blow your mind.
Okay, so there was that scene, one of my notable scenes, where Willow's in the classroom. Once again, her classroom is a
Mm.
revolving darn door.
They really got to
And
make use of that set. They're like, we gave this character, this new character, an entire set to herself. We're going to use and abuse it.
Well, I definitely feel that way because Diane goes there and they're literally saying every single detail of the story. And as they're speaking, I have so much anxiety because I'm like, Shiloh could be right outside the door and those doors are thin. Harmony could be right outside the door. Anybody could walk in at any moment and hear a crucial part of the conversation. And then when she was in the room with Chase and they had the baby bracelet, I was just on edge every
Yeah.
single time Wiley's name was mentioned. Like I couldn't even handle it. So like my panic star of the week goes to Baby Switch.
Oh my gosh, yes. And the thing, it's you bring up like the whole bracelet. So it was really interesting how she had that conversation about her dad. So
Oh yeah, I forgot about
so
that.
yeah, so like how her dad passed. I'm not sure we really know the whole story behind his passing. But what I thought was really interesting is they juxtaposed that conversation about her father. So we don't know a lot about Willow's history. So there's that. And then they go to a scene where Alexis brings up the therapist, daughter, and wife. Like, I don't think Willow is his daughter, but I just found
No.
it weird that they placed those stories side by side that I'm like, are they connected in some shape or
Well,
form?
do you remember when they were talking about the guy who was either killed, committed suicide,
Yeah.
overdose, and then Neil had also worked with somebody from a cult. So like my theory is, or yeah, it's my theory that, that basically
Self, is
so
this my
Neil
theory?
it's Friday. Okay, so that Neil worked with that gentleman, which is Willow's dad, and that he couldn't help him, and then he ended up dying because he was like drugged or killed by one of Dawn a Day. So I do believe that the stories are intertwined, just not in the way that we initially hoped.
Okay, that actually makes a lot of sense to me because I feel like there is a reason that they were kind of put like that side by side. And there is something about Alexis. I just thought that it was really funny that she brought up this concept. Is that why Christina chose her? Is that she's so ethically challenged? And I'm like, maybe. Like, I don't know. I don't know if it's that. I just think it's a product of your hot and cold relationship. And yeah, you being really inconsistent on what's right or wrong makes you really inconsistent, which makes you very hypocritical for most of the time. And so yeah, I think it's very chaotic for someone like Christina who's already chaotic.
Well, exactly. And I think it was Alexis who used the term that she's morally flexible. Whereas you said earlier, Sonny is very consistent with who he is and how he approaches things. Whereas Alexis, you don't know if you're winning or losing. You don't know if she's going to judge you or not. If she's going to get on her high horse or get off of it. So it's very
Yeah.
conflicting constantly. And she's looking for a battle and will get defensive. So how are you supposed to interact with somebody like that who, on top of it all, is your mother?
Yeah, I think ultimately what drives Alexis is trying to be right.
Yeah, I
So,
agree.
you know what I mean? That's why I think she's so morally inflexible is that she will bend her world so that she can be right.
True.
Real fast before we get to talking about Jax, I'm just like Harmony is obviously going to just stay in jail. And a part of me was like, you numbnut, did you think you were like fake confessing? Like I don't understand. Like this guy literally is like I can't get you a lawyer because I want to deal with my own stuff. The only leverage she had was not signing the thing for the offshore account, and then she signs it, and then,
Well,
and even though her whole face is like, I don't trust you, you're gonna leave me in here, it's like, hello, he won't get you a lawyer. He's gonna use that money to get himself a lawyer for something else. How are you gonna raise the baby with him if he's not getting you a lawyer? From what I understand, you have no way of defending yourself.
well, that's the thing. She gave away the goods before she got what she wanted. It's like this is how the scene went down in my head. Do you pinky swear to let me out of jail? And he crossed his fingers behind his back, and then he walked out of the room and got what he wanted. Like it was so
It was
bizarre.
so bad. It was whatever. I mean, look, to be honest, I was kind of confused when Willow went to go see her today. I only understood it at the end because she was pleading with because she was acting like she was trying to save her mom, like let's be mother and daughter.
Mm-hmm.
But then I realized it was really just to get her mom to rat on Shiloh because if Shiloh's in jail, then she wouldn't really have a problem any longer. So I kind
But
of finally understood that.
when that scene happened, something Ava said, or I think yeah, it was Ava that said this earlier in the week that was really stuck out to me. So she said to Nina, because Nina was trying to convince her to do the cover, she told her that you're really good at shaping a narrative. And that's exactly the line that popped out at me when Willow was speaking to Harmony. She was doing what she needed to do to get the end result she wanted, shaping
Yes,
her
yes.
narrative.
Yeah, that makes a
Yes.
lot of sense. So Jax was just pretty awesome. this week. Do you know what really bugged me? So he starts off this week with Bobby, and then Bobby warns him to keep his cool with Sonny. And once again, I'm like, I'm sorry, like he's clearly devious in business, which we get to see as the week progresses. But again, like, what is he going to do to Sonny?
Well, it's like I feel the same way how people are approaching Julian, they're approaching Jax. Like it's like they're approaching them as their old selves and not the current character that's there. And like you said, what is Jax gonna really do? What has he even done in the past that could even push Sunny? Sunny's the one who pushes Jax.
Exactly. So anyway, so he kind of like is really getting like being really hands-on with everything in Crimson. And so Nina's trying to get Ava, and that was an interesting conversation that they had. I think it was probably the most genuine conversation I've ever seen between Nina and Ava when she went to go get her at when she went to go try to convince her at Charlie's. I don't know. I just so there's that. So she kind of convinces her, and then like I have these moments where I'm like, I don't feel that Ava is all that shallow or the things that you're saying, but then she does things where I'm like, okay, well then maybe people do know how to get to her because she shows up at Crimson playing games,
Yes.
and later she was basically convinced to do it because it would piss off Carly.
I know Jax's little puppet and he knew exactly what would trigger her. I
I
mean,
know.
it was crazy.
The funny thing was I liked that he defended Connie because he's made a point of saying she was my friend, and the fact that he didn't shy away from bringing the fact up that she shot Connie. Love Nina in the background reacting to this. I'm like, you
Yes.
didn't know that the editor, like like she's famous, like this would have been everywhere, that Connie was killed right there in her office. So like Nina was just amazing in those scenes, and like to being a beat, like the fact that Nina was on Ava's side, kind of like trying to be all like girl power, fist in the air. I was just like, this is freaking hilarious. I don't know what to think about this. So like clearly Jax has his own plan. He roped Carly
Yes.
in to kind of convince her. So it did convince Ava, and KW a media said karma is going to hit Nina and Jax when they least expect it for trying to exploit Ava's story. And I think it's weird that they still think she's superficial, all about my looks kind of a woman. Like, what do you think about that?
I don't think Karma's gonna bite those two. I just think that
She's gonna get angry
Ava's
though, wouldn't she? Like, I mean, I don't know if it's like if it's they're gonna, because that's the thing. She doesn't want to be slandered.
right.
I think she might be angry, but I don't know. Like, will she be able to see that her answers might speak to people differently? I don't know. Because he's right. She can't tell the story without explaining that Kiki had been with two of her ex-boyfriends.
I know, but Ava's so self-involved. She might read into the response of this in a whole different light than what it actually means.
So
So
you
I
don't
don't
think
really
she'll
know
so you don't think she may not see Nina and Jax as the enemy.
exactly. She might,
Well,
I think they might keep that story in the back pocket. Like I don't see at this moment in time all the battles she has to fight that's an important one for her at this point in time.
yeah, I don't know how that's going to go down, but it's just it's a brief win, I guess, in the context of like Carly's world and Jax's world, and the fact that he loved Connie and loved Morgan. So I think for them it's sort of like a little bit of a win, and obviously for the magazine too, for Nina. But what I loved a lot about the conversation he had with Carly is that Carly threw in, why don't you just let Maxie run the place? And I was actually thinking that the week before,
Yes.
because Maxie is well connected in the city. You know, like if this girl ever got into trouble, she has connections left, right, and center of people that would line up to
Mm-hmm.
kind of help her. But she's never been rich. You know, she's been that
Yeah.
girl who loves fashion. She has a baby. She has babies. And she likes
Mm-hmm.
expensive things. And I just think it would be so interesting to watch her climb and to watch her in a powerful position, because I wonder what that would change, how that would change her character, to then have this powerful position, have the money to come with it, to live the
Mm-hmm.
lifestyle she's kind of always wanted, and to be the one to provide that for herself and for her kids. So I think that would be so interesting, because like I mean, she's already connected to the elite in Port Charles. She just doesn't happen to be one of the rich ones.
It allows Maxie to be potentially a future contender for Michael because we had talked about that a couple of weeks back. So it just allows for so many very cool openings.
I would be excited if something like that were to happen. But about like Nita really fast, I have this one comment that I definitely want to get in. So Maria Teresa Biblioteca said this. Why? Oh, why is Nina the only person in PC who pronounces Ava's last name in such an obnoxious way? Jerome. Not even Ava pronounces it that way, and it's her name. It is super annoying and maybe an acting choice, but why? I thought that was super funny.
It is super funny. And I had a super hilarious Nina moment too this week when Nina and Ava were already in the office and Jax is walking in and she extended her arm to kind of introduce Jax, but she didn't say anything. She just extended her arm and had this silly, goofy look on her face. And I could not stop giggling.
I didn't even notice that, but she's a fool around him, so that totally doesn't surprise me.
I loved it.
Okay, so I have another comment because this may be the only person who hasn't forgotten about Kim and Drew. So Knitting the Blues says Billy Miller absolutely killed it when Kim was hallucinating and talking about Drew and the lost possibility of having a family. He said so much with subtle expressions. Like he had a lot going on this week. He was supporting Kim and like simultaneously even supporting like Joss from really far away because she started to text Oscar. So that was really, really interesting. And she also asks us, do you think so? Yes, I think Billy Miller did an amazing job. He had a lot to kind of hold for a lot of people
Yes.
this week. But do you think Kim is pregnant?
Well, when she put her hand on her stomach, I was like, OMG, maybe. Yeah, maybe.
Because I didn't know if it was I'm pregnant now or because she said, wouldn't that be nice? So it's kind of like, are we saying she's going to have a baby, which leaves it open? Is it Julian or is it Drew's?
Right.
Or are you already pregnant, which it would be Julian's?
Exactly.
Unless
So it's
there was some secret sex.
the secret sex on the mountain. And that's so it's like, is it altitude? Is it like hormones? Like, why did she pass out? Why did she?
Oh, well, right now they think it's altitude sickness. So I don't know. It was really
Mhm.
because the way she said it, wouldn't this be nice? So it sounded like a hope as opposed to I am currently pregnant. But again, I don't really know because she's all like delusional and a little cray cray right now. So
Exactly.
speaking of Oscar, Joss, like we said, was texting. I loved her interaction with Maxie, and and first of all, I like it when any characters interact more than they should. And I was like, oh, you're interacting with your future sister-in-law, maybe, because
No.
everybody is Michael's future sister-in-law, maybe.
Right.
Um, but I realized, Maxie with her loss could obviously really kind of get where Joss is coming from. So she went to see Lucy today, and Lucy really just tried to assure her that ultimately, he wants you to move on. But what kind of creeped me out was that when she was left to her own devices, she went online. And I think she was on something possibly about seances. What really freaked me out was the website she was reading and the fact that she said those words that death is just the beginning of the journey. And she seemed like she was contemplating, like, I don't know what she's willing to do to feel a closeness to Oscar. Like, I don't know if she's willing to hurt her. Like, I don't know what crazy steps she's willing to take. So that kind of freaked me out a little bit.
Same, but I'm hoping she'll take it as a positive turn to do something. I know there's that park from Ned, but maybe there are other ways to just, something about the
To
school,
feel
something about,
close.
yes, so something about, a scholarship honoring Oscar so they can talk about him every year in a very wonderful way, or,
I
something along
know.
those lines to keep
I,
him
I
alive, quote
I
unquote.
get that, but I don't think she's in that place right now. Like, I think she's in
I
this
know.
desperate place to feel him. So I don't know what this means for her in the next little bit. This may be because everybody else has such busy things going on. Yes, they're keeping an eye on Joss, but maybe this is where Cameron maybe gets a little bit more involved
Oh, I like that.
to
Oh,
support her because things
yes.
might get out of hand in a way that just remains in the teenage realm, possibly. So, from a very sad note to a really exciting one. So, Michael was also there to do business. He had crossed Joss at Kelly's. And so, I didn't know if he bought like Margaux's place or not. And then I realized he bought Shiloh's house.
How freaking like I thought it was so awesome. I'm like, Michael, you go about things just like the perfect way, and this is absolutely incredible. But what do you think about Shiloh with the whole lease situation? Like, a lease can be broken. Like, what's your issue?
Like, one, I cackled like an evil witch when I heard Michael buy the place. I thought it was amazing, but I don't understand Shiloh. Like, the guy, like, I guess this is what everyone's alluding to because Jason said it. You're saying it now, the concept that he's really losing it because he's acting like he's so untouchable. Like, he's like, well, you can't break my lease. And he's like, well, you don't have a lease with me. And he's telling him he's handing over the house to this shelter that he does work with, that ELQ does work with. And And basically he looks at his phone and realizes that like the transfer that Harmony signed went through and he has $50,000, and that suddenly somehow makes him cocky about his lease, going like, good luck breaking that lease. It won't be hard. Like, I don't know, like again, maybe this goes into what you're saying, the desperation and what will Shiloh eventually do. But yeah, I think that was just an amazing scene, and it's just one way you can take a jab at Shiloh and just start, plucking away at him bit by bit. Because as the DA highlighted, as Jason highlighted, as Sam highlighted, this has been in the news media coverage. People have left DOD, and people are coming forward about the trust.
Exactly. So I'm hoping this is just another step in people seeing him as a fraudulent person and helping the case as well.
And do you think that DA redeemed herself by looking to Jason for help? Because, we were on her side, then she let Shiloh go, and we were like, what are you doing? And now today she comes to Jason and kind of hands him some info and a direction.
I know it's like we never had this conversation, move forward and go, fix the things that we cannot fix. I liked it. See, and that's what happened with Shiloh when she was in that room, and that strong DA with her instinct and her voice and everything stood up to him. And now she's connecting with Jason. Like, this is the character that I hoped to see earlier on.
Yeah. At least they're giving her a respectable goodbye, but I just think it sucks that like the character only is becoming more relatable now, I guess. I don't know if the word relatable is right, or maybe likable, but the fact that she just looked at him and goes, this works for us. I was like, wow, you're calling you and Jason and us. That's crazy. So, I mean, I guess maybe she's more relaxed. She quit her job. She doesn't really have rules to abide by right now.
True.
And the gray area seems to be the place to operate, because she doesn't think an actual police officer can crack the case, which is why she went to Jason, which I think is yeah, I mean, it's cool. Like I said, it's at least they're giving her like a decent send off.
Well, that was another thing I was giggling about, that we all know that they don't solve any crimes. Like, it's always
I
somebody else.
know, I know, and I guess people passing through are realizing that as well. So that's a wrap for us this week.
Have a lovely weekend and kiss those babes.
I will. Have a good weekend, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.